Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
And now we welcome you to the portion of Liberty Nation Radio which we entitled Talkin' Liberty, as we welcome in our regular contributor, constitutional lawyer, and LibertyNation.com legal affairs director, Scott Cosenza. Hello, Scott.
Hello, Tim. And former vapor, I think, is relevant
vapor.
in this slate of stories we have.
Well, let's talk about the war on vaping.
Yes.
New York has done it. They banned the sale of flavored e-cigarettes, which are reputedly responsible for the deaths of up to 7 people recently with a mysterious lung disease. So New York health officials acted. Did they do the right thing?
That they do there. Almost.
You get to
Right.
get a rhetorical question
right.
every once in a while because I put enough tough ones to you.
Right.
So here's a softball, and I just teed it up.
Of course
for you.
not. No. What would be the right thing is for the market to sort this out. And what that means is if people think that they're, you've mentioned these reports of deaths. If people think that their e-juice is unsafe, then they can cease using it. And if anything is labeled falsely or with it misleadingly, that can be prosecuted and banned. All the laws against fraud and misrepresentation, mislabeling apply, Tim, to e-cigarette stuff from the first time anybody ever sold one. You can't lie about what's in that cartridge and then sell it. But whether or not this is a safe alternative to smoking or a risk that people are willing to bear for the pleasure of nicotine or the cessation of nicotine withdrawal symptoms, as I've been taught to understand them as a former nicotine addict. Mm-hmm. That is for the people themselves to decide. And we do know for sure, Tim, that many, many people use these products to actually cease smoking cigarettes, which is a massive harm.
Yep.
There's support comes from this for this measure because they say they don't know the health consequences of the continued use of these products. Well, they don't know the health consequences of banning them either, which is to say that certainly more people will smoke cigarettes and then suffer the massively negative health consequences that we know accrue from smoking cigarettes.
Let me be a textbook example. And I got some street cred on this because I have been vaping for 8 years. Mm-hmm. Essentially, Scott, when I ran for the Senate and you were my chief aide de camp, right after that, I started vaping because I could not kick the nicotine habit. I'd quit 12 times in my life, and I knew I would go back to it. And cigarettes are deadly. E-cigarettes the risk is minuscule compared to that of cigarettes. Yes, you get addicted to nicotine, no question. But when you take all the other additives of a cigarette out, you're left with just nicotine. Now you have something that's essentially about as dangerous as caffeine.
The point is, Tim, that's for you to decide.
Absolutely.
Not for Governor Cuomo to decide what's best for you, because you're the one that's going to have to live with the consequences of your health.
But, Scott, how else is the governor supposed to signal his virtue?
Yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, and it's sort of I forget what economists call this thing where if there are deaths that are associated with vaping, the government will partially get the blame because they don't have these regulations in place. But they won't ever get the blame from the people who go smoking now and get cancer and die.
No, of course
from
not.
Those deaths will not be accrued. Yeah,
they talk about the danger of people becoming, especially teenagers, young people. It's all about the kids, Scott. The young people starting the nicotine habit when, in fact, what it's doing is it is sending them off the scent of cigarettes.
Tim, what is your favorite flavor of e-vape juice?
I like 2 kinds.
Go ahead.
One of them is white chocolate.
Right.
Another is golden apple.
Okay, now, do you care to disclose your age on the program?
Not yet eligible for full Social Security.
Okay, but partial?
I'm going to leave it at that.
Right.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I wanted to say that. So they say, white chocolate, they act like only children like flavors that have to do with chocolate. When I did the vaping, I did the watermelon flavor. I enjoyed it. I'm not a child, and neither are you. And this idea that because a company puts out a product that is going to appeal to many people, including possibly children, doesn't make them marketing to children. And by the way, do you want your children smoking Marlboros or vaping if you had the choice?
It's just another textbook example of the authoritarian instincts of the left to just step in and make everything either mandatory or forbidden.
I'm sure that the vape store owners and employees will get some government finance retraining program and a subsidy for their rent they can't make anymore.
Thank you for that.
Thanks.